There we are. And we are live. Hello, everyone. Though I know no one is in the chat room at the moment. Welcome back to another post-match show with myself, Chris. And as always, I'm joined with Irish Tommy. How you feeling, mate?
Feeling fantastic, yeah. Very good performance, particularly first half. And obviously a massive 3 points now. So
Yep.
that's us more or less safe now. I think we can finally breathe. And
Yeah. Well, not only are we safe, we actually moved up a position in the table. We are now 15th. We level on points with Brighton ahead on goal difference. So it even better position than we were this morning. So even better result.
yeah, Brighton started really well when they after the league resumed, but they've started to fall off now. Some reversals for them, but so we may even finish above them yet. Obviously, look, very tough game at Old Trafford to come, but look, we're heading in the right direction. That's the main thing. We've picked up the points we needed to since the restart, and that's the most important thing. Our final finishing position, as long as it's not 18th or worse, I'm happy. So another really huge 3 points tonight, and that's us. We'll let Watford do all the worrying now.
Yeah, I mean that's a very good point. Watford is close on goal difference to Bournemouth, only 3 points ahead. So Bournemouth is still have the possibility of clawing their way out. But for us, in essence, I heard the announcers say that no club has ever been 6 points ahead above the drop with 2 matches remaining and gone down. And then on top of that, you add into the fact that we have, I believe it's about a 12 goal difference with Bournemouth. So in the last 2 matches, we'd need to lose by 6 and 7 respectively, at least. So it's not mathematical, but it's as good as safe.
Yeah, we're safe. It's over. We're not going down. That's it. Worries are over, Chris. Like you say, mathematically, no, we're not safe, but realistically, we are. Like I say, that goal difference is worth an extra point. So
yeah,
that's it. I think the team need to stay focused. Obviously, there's 2 more games to play, and I hope they still approach them with the right attitude. But relegation is over now. Our worries are over. We're good.
Yeah. But I mean, regardless of relegation, take away the idea, the scrap that this match was because of the relegation fears. What a hell of a match for West Ham. I texted one of my buddies during this. I said, we looked more like a side vying for Champions League than we did for relegation.
Yeah, that first half especially was absolutely fantastic. We came right out of the traps at a high tempo, getting after Watford, playing the ball around beautifully. They could not deal with us at all. Every time we got forward, it looked like we might score a goal. And of course, like in any game, if you score very early, that's huge. It really gets you up set on the right foot. And we were lucky enough. In the first 10 minutes, we were 2-0 up, and Watford were absolutely reeling. Absolutely reeling. And like I said, we were just carving them open. We were controlling possession, playing really well. And it was great to see, because we've had a lot of games where it's been terrible to watch and where we've been really unhappy with what we've been seeing. So, to see the team play like that and see them scoring goals, we need it really. After the season we've had, if we can finish strongly, give us some optimism going into next season. Hopefully, if we finish strongly, finish playing well. But yeah, that first half just fantastic, and like I say, Antonio again. What can you say about the guy? I mean, just can't stop scoring.
No, 7 goals.
He now, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. He's now the top goal scorer since the Premier League resumed.
Yes.
And He's one ahead now of Martial and someone else. Can't remember who the other player is who has 6, but he's got 7 now. I mean, the guy's just on fire. And a nutmeg to boot, nutmeg Ben Foster to finish.
I took him a few replays, but I couldn't believe my eyes that he nutmegged the keeper.
Yeah, I mean, another assist for Fornells on that one, by the way.
Yeah.
Fornells got on the ball around the edge of the box, just flicked the little ball through for Antonio. Now, it took a little deflection off the centre-back, which forced Antonio a little bit wide and give him a much tighter angle. Yeah, but he did the right thing. He drove it low and hard, which is all you can really do in those circumstances. And luckily, it went through Ben Foster's legs and into the net. And as you say, just an absolute dream start. We were up and running. Our tails were up. Confidence was up. Watford were reeling. And then, once again, that man, Thomas Souček, in the 10th minute, just... I mean, he's just turned into an unbelievable threat in the box. And he makes these absolutely brilliant runs and times them perfectly. And because he's 6'7" or something, and he's just a nightmare to deal with any ball in the air. And it has to be said, an absolutely brilliant ball in from Bowen. That's a ball that just screams at you. Get on the end of that. And with Souček's height and the way he attacks the ball, he came running at pace onto the ball, and a really well-controlled header inside the post. He's turning into an absolutely brilliant player for us, and obviously we're safe now, so we're going to sign him permanently. He's going to cost us about £15 million.
Yeah, something like.
I mean that's going to be a. Oh yeah, I mean it's going to be a massive steal to get him for 15 mil. Massive steal. And he's clearly going to be a hugely important player for us going forward, because for a long, long time, we were talking about we desperately need a box-to-box midfielder. And in these last few games, he's shown that he is that player, that he can be our box-to-box midfielder, and that he has an eye for goal, that he will score. He's brilliant on corners as well. He's a nightmare to deal with for opponents on corners. So I'm absolutely delighted with Souček. And again, Bowen, who put that ball in, Bowen has been brilliant for us since he signed, and shows no signs of letting up. He was excellent again tonight, and brilliant ball in. Another assist for him as well. He's got a few assists now as well. And I think over time, Bowen will probably increase the amount of goals he scores. So he looks like he's going to be a brilliant acquisition as well. So, and then of course that goal. Thanks, Cass. That goal. I have tea. Courtesy of my beautiful daughter, Cassie. Thank you.
Folks, what you didn't see beforehand is right before we were going. Tommy happened to spill his entire cup of tea, so the man's happy at last.
Yeah, back on track. Yeah, and then that third goal from Rice, just an absolute screamer.
I mean, in all reality, that is the perfect way for Declan Rice to cap off the incredible season that he's had with an incredible goal like that.
Yeah, one of the goals of the season. You don't hit a ball better than that.
No.
From that position, in the inside right channel, and Ben Foster was a spectator. He may as well have been at home sitting on the couch like the rest of us watching that shot, because he had absolutely no chance. And if you see in the replays, wow. Even Ben Foster was like, wow. Even keepers know when they've been beaten by something a bit special. And that was a bit special, in fairness. Yeah, and actually Rice is really adding that to his game now. His striking has really come on. He's clearly been working on his ball striking. He had another effort in the second half, which unfortunately Will Hughes got ahead to and deflected it away for a corner. I would have been really interested to see where that was going, because it looked like he really hit that one as well. Well, yeah, Rice is adding that to his game. And, I really hope we get to keep Rice. I know it's probably unrealistic for us to keep him long term, but I'd like to think we can get another season or two out of him because he's just so important to us. And you know what? I know there was a time when we were all saying we're definitely losing Rice, definitely losing him in the summer. I'm not as convinced as a lot of people that we'll lose him this summer. There are a couple of reasons for that. First reason is I don't think we'll be looking to do any part exchanges like player plus cash. I think we're going to want straight up money for him, and he is worth every cent of £80 million, every cent. And I don't know which clubs actually have got that kind of money to chuck around.
Especially
straight up 80 million.
Pandemic.
Well, yeah, for the reasons we all know, right? So the Premier League money isn't what it was, I would imagine, before the pandemic. So who's got the 80 million to throw at it? Straight up cash, right? That's number one. Number two, the club he's been most closely linked with is Chelsea, right? Now, you can understand why. He grew up as a Chelsea fan. Mason Mount's his best friend.
He was cut by Chelsea.
He was cut by Chelsea, yeah, when he was 14, I believe.
Yeah.
And reports are that Kante is probably going to be sold. But here's the thing. I have my doubts if Declan Rice wants to go somewhere to play centre-back. Given Chelsea's problems at centre-back, I think if Lampard buys him, it may be with a view of playing him as a centre-back. And to be honest, I think Rice is absolutely wasted at centre-back, given what he does in that defensive midfield role and how much he contributes going forward, his range of passing. He loves to score a goal, as you saw tonight, loves to get a shot away. I just wonder if Declan Rice wouldn't be thinking, you know what? I'd rather be here playing as a defensive midfielder and being able to play in this position and play the way I'm playing. I think he loves playing there. I doubt if Rice has a particular appetite to play as a centre-back.
Yeah. One of the reasons, too, I'm not so sure that we're going to sell him anyway. I don't think... it might be me just reading a little bit too much into it. But immediately after his goal, he runs over and hugs Moyes. I might be reading a little bit too much into that, but to me, that's saying he doesn't want to leave. Like, that's him saying, hey, I'm staying.
I don't know if I'd read that much into it, but all I'd read into that really is that, he gets along well with Moyes. Maybe they he likes Moyes as a person, likes him on the training ground or whatever. But I still agree with your ultimate point. I don't think there's any huge appetite on Rice's part to leave. I don't think he's like, oh, fucking can't wait for the summer so I can maybe get out of here and join some other club. I don't think he feels that way. I do think he genuinely loves West Ham. I really do. I don't think it's bluster. I don't think it's a con. I think he really, really does love West Ham, and I think he really does enjoy playing at the club, and I think he really loves playing as a defensive midfielder. So,
yeah,
like I said, if a club comes in and says, "Look, we need you to be our centre back for the next 10 years," I think he'd be thinking to himself, "I don't particularly want to be your centre back for 10 years."
Yeah,
I think he likes the freedom of the defensive midfield role because it allows him to go and attack and score goals. And if I was him playing in that position, I wouldn't want to be shunted back to centre back.
Yeah, and as Matthew here said, Lampard has even said that he'll play Rice at center back. So at that point, if you want the choice of whether to play center back or CDM, maybe playing CDM occasionally, going back into the center back position when needed. I mean, you stay at West Ham. They haven't even made a bid for him, and they're already dictating where he'll be playing. So I don't see him leaving.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, but I like the fact that if I'm assuming that's true, that Lampard has said that they would buy him as a centre back. I hope Lampard has said that because I think there's a real possibility that would put Declan Rice off.
Yeah,
I think there's a real possibility that would put him off. And he'd be, if I was Rice, I know I wouldn't want to go from where I'm playing now, given everything I said about what that position allows him to do,
Yeah,
and go playing centre back. I mean, you're so much more limited in what you can do as a centre back.
yeah,
All
and
he,
then,
all he can do, all he can do is come up for corners. He won't have as much opportunity to spray the ball around. If you're a centre back and you win the ball, you're popping it out to the either out to the side, out to the wings, to your full backs, or maybe a winger who's dropped back, or a wing back, or you're popping it forward to a defensive midfielder in front of you who's come short to get the ball off you. I don't know if Rice is going to enjoy that nearly as much as what he's doing now. Now he
yeah,
can come out with the ball. He can come out. He can run with the ball at his feet. He can spray the ball around. He can keep going after he pops the ball off, get himself in and around the edge of the box, get shots away.
yeah.
To me, I wouldn't change that position if it was
And,
me personally.
and even more so beyond the position, it's the state of the club and the fans too. I mean, here at West Ham, we kind of put Rice up on a pedestal and look at him as like the shining example of like what West Ham is about. Like we love him, like we worship him almost. If he goes to
We adore him, yeah.
if he goes to Chelsea, not only is he going to be like kind of pressing that reset button, so to speak, he's going to a club with even higher expectations than there are here at West Ham, and so he has one bad game. Chelsea fans are ready to relegate him to the bench. Here, he has one, which he hasn't. He has one bad game, and we're like, okay, that's fine. Just do better next time.
Yeah, he's had the odd game where he hasn't been his usual brilliant self, but no one says anything about it. We say, okay, because he's so consistent. He's consistently good. So if he has an off day, it's like, yeah, of course you do. Everyone has an off day, no matter who you are. So yeah, but yeah, Chelsea fans, of course, they'll be much more fickle. You see the crap Zuma's getting from them at the moment. Like he's just getting absolutely pilloried by them, Kurt Zuma. So yeah, I think I'd be saying all this to Rice, frankly. If I'm David Moyes.
If I'm more his
agent. Yeah, well, his agent is.
Yeah, I guess actually I take that back. Agent, it could go either way.
Yeah, his agent is going to be he can make millions. His agent will make 5+, maybe 10 million, whatever, off that deal if he goes to Chelsea for 80-odd million. So his agent is not going to try and persuade him to. But I think Declan. I don't think it really matters what Declan's agent thinks. I don't think Declan is Ngakia. I don't think it's going to be led by the nose. I think Declan is his own man, and Declan will tell his agent what he's doing, not the other way around. And you get this talk as well. He wants to play for England and go to the Euros next summer and the World Cup summer after, and he'll do that playing for West Ham. He's in the Premier League and playing the way he is. He's a shoo-in. His England place is not under threat because he's playing for West Ham. He's quality and everyone can see it. And Gareth Southgate can see it. So his England place doesn't come into it.
No. Moving on here, though, Matthew makes a very good point here, too. We need to talk about Ben Johnson very well today, I thought.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he might be starting to take over for Fredericks. I think Fredericks' days as a starter are numbered. I think Johnson will, if he hasn't now already, I think he will become the full-time starter right back. So I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, that's probably one last position that we really have to worry about in the transfer market.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been banging this drum for a while now, ever since we learned that Ngakia intended to leave and wasn't going to sign a new contract. That was the moment when I said, right, drop him.
Yeah.
Drop Ngakia now. He's not staying. He's not being here. He shouldn't be on the pitch. He shouldn't be on the bench. If he's leaving, fine. Go sit at home. I don't care. You're not in the team. And I said back then, this is when you put Johnson in, because I said to you back then that, in my opinion, Johnson is better than Ngakia anyway.
I think
So
that's what the reports were saying too. That the higher ups in the club, in terms of the pecking order, they thought that Johnson had more potential than Ngakia. So maybe we're
well,
starting.
that's my view on it. Yeah. So weeks and weeks ago, from the restart, basically, I've wanted Johnson to be the starting right back. Clearly, Fredericks. I have nothing against Fredericks. He's committed to the club and he tries his best. He doesn't have an attitude issue. He works hard and all that. I have nothing against him, but he should be on the bench as the backup to Johnson, because Johnson is the young talent that we have at the club at right back, and he has a lot of talent and a lot of potential, and we need to be starting him now.
Yeah.
The sooner he gains experience and grows as a player, the better for us. So, unfortunately for Fredericks, look, he picked up an injury. I don't actually know the nature of it, if it puts him out for the last 2 games, or if it's just for this game, I don't know. But either way, I think, given how Johnson performed again, given that his only other previous 2 starts were both against Man City, the first one away and the second one at home, and both out of position at left back. And he played very, very well in both of those games. Now, he's played in his natural position at right back tonight and barely put a foot wrong. At a couple of wobbly moments, but he's young. You have to expect that. But, in fairness, he didn't really give Welbeck a sniff tonight. And there were other times where his positioning sense was absolutely excellent, where he was tucking in when he recognized the danger coming from the opposite wing, where he tucked in and actually towards the end he came around and made a brilliant kind of covering interception and cleared the ball out to the far wing. And he's clearly got a good footballing brain on him. He's got talent, and I'm excited about Johnson. So I was delighted to see him start tonight, and whoever it was just there is absolutely correct.
Matthew.
Regardless of whether Fredericks is available, Johnson has to start again at Old Trafford.
Yeah, with me, since we are all but safe now, we're not obviously mathematically, but in all reality, we basically are. These last 2 games are very important for Johnson. I mean, that's 2 additional games against Man United and a Villa who's going to try and be scrapping their way out of it. So, I mean, that's not going to be easy competition. So, but at the same time, he can get the experience that he needs and probably take over as the full-time right back next season.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he will. I think he has the talent to do that. I think he's certainly going to prove to be better than Fredericks. There's little doubt in my mind about that. Obviously, we don't know yet what his ceiling is. We don't know how good he can be. So that remains to be seen. But I certainly think he's going to be better than Fredericks. And look, we'll take that as a start, won't we? So, but you're absolutely right. Look, he needs games. He needs to be in there every game, gain experience, let his confidence grow, and I have a lot of hope for him. And obviously the other side of the pitch is something we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have to buy in a replacement for Cresswell. Cresswell should be the backup. Cresswell and Frederick should be backups at this point. I think they're still both good enough to be a backup, where they can come in for a game or 2 if needs be, but no more than that.
This is not the point I was going to bring up from Matthew here, but Matthew does make another good point too. Since Ogbonna's come back in, West Ham have gotten 10 points in 5 games, and shows just how important he is to the defense. And I wholeheartedly agree. I think that he's been a rock in the back. I think he's right up there, if not the favorite for Hammer of the Year. I'd argue Antonio and Rice are there too, but he's been vital to us this season.
Yeah, this was going to be one of my main talking points tonight. I was going to put a real emphasis on Ogbonna. he's magnificent. I mean, he just is. I mean, again tonight, I mean, he had a very, very tough assignment tonight dealing with Sarr. Sarr is a nightmare. I mean, he's just lightning quick, incredibly lively, always on the move. But Ogbonna, I mean, he was just immense tonight. Again, he's an absolutely brilliant centre back. And make no mistake about it. I don't care about what people have gone for. 80 million for this centre back and 50 million for that centre back. Harry Maguire, I don't care who it is. He is as good as any centre back in the Premier League.
Yes.
And frankly, I'm sorry, he shits all over Harry Maguire.
Yeah, and he's 30. He just turned 32.
He's a far better centre back. Ogbonna's brilliant. I don't know if fans of other teams even realise it, because maybe they don't see West Ham so much, but I don't know if people realise how outside of West Ham how good Ogbonna is. He was absolute for everyone in the chat room. They're saying he was man of the match. To me, it wasn't even close.
No,
I thought he was head and shoulders man of the match today. His positional sense is second to none. He just he knows he's brilliantly experienced. I mean, you can see the experience of him. The way he uses his body to cut runners off and muscle them off the ball. He did it to Sarr. There was one particular time in the second half where Sarr got the ball on the inside on Watford's inside right channel, right, as they're attacking. Ogbonna was over that side as the left centre back. And Ogbonna just up here just knew, right, he's going to push this past and try and skin me. Ogbonna had turned and was gone and had 3 yards on Sarr by the time he pushed the ball. And as they both approached the ball, Ogbonna just stepped across between Sarr and the ball, used his strength to hold him off, wouldn't let him round him, and the ball rolled out for a goal kick. And I was clapping. I was just thought, that's magnificent. That intelligence is what he really has that impresses me, is he knows who he's up against and how to play them. Sarr is a nightmare matchup for any centre back, and I mean he just did brilliantly on him. Balls into the box, he did his usual clearing headers, right position, right place, right time, always. I can't speak highly enough of Ogbonna. He's been superb this season, and I think actually since we've come back from the break, he's been even better. I think the way he's finishing out the season, he's just incredibly impressive. Yeah, he did get this. Gary Neville gave him the Sky Sports Man of the Match tonight. So it was obvious to everyone watching tonight, because it was the only live game on. So everyone's watching us, and it was obvious to everyone that Ogbonna was just head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean,
and I know. Sorry, Chris. I know you said he's 32. Centre back doesn't matter.
No.
Centre back does not matter.
I was
32
out because he plays like he's younger than that. Like he doesn't play his age.
Yeah, Ogbonna can play another 2-3 seasons.
Yeah,
I have no doubt he can play another. I mean, he's supremely fit. You can see he really looks after himself. He hasn't lost a step. And he's 32. So I'm really hopeful that we'll have Ogbonna around for a while.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to retire a Hammer. So I
would think so.
I think we're safe with him for a while. I mean, even if he starts on the decline, I mean, he would be a phenomenal backup at absolute worst for us. So I think
I actually have a suspicion that Ogbonna will turn out going forward to be actually a very, very good manager.
I could see that, I really could. And I don't know if
he's very intelligent.
Yes. I don't know where he'd want to go, but I wouldn't mind him as a manager of West Ham at one day.
That wouldn't surprise me in the least if somewhere down the line Ogbonna is actually manager at West Ham.
No.
He's when you watch him play, you can see he's so intelligent. He knows football. He has a great footballing brain. And I mean, what better if you're Diop?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're Diop,
as Matthew said here, if Johnson can learn off Ogbonna, he will become an amazing right back. I mean, any of those young players, Bowen, Johnson, Diop, Rice, even to a degree Souček, if those guys are learning from a player like Ogbonna, we'll be just fine.
Yeah, particularly young defensive players. Looking at like Diop and Johnson, still young players, still learning, improving all the time, but still learning and improving. And imagine, you're training with Ogbonna all week, and then you're playing beside him in games. I mean, just to be learning from him about how to defend and how to read the game, getting your positioning right, anticipating. I mean, there's hardly a better mentor you could have than Ogbonna. For Diop to be playing beside him as the other centre back every game, I mean, that's going to be brilliant for Diop. He will absolutely make Diop a much better centre back. And he must be. You just know he's a leader, so you just know he's going to be talking to Diop and Johnson all the time throughout the game, constantly talking to them, instructing them, advising them. Doesn't get better than that. I'm a massive fan of Ogbonna. I love the guy. Absolutely brilliant player.
And really quickly, because I saw this in the chat and I just confirmed it. Happy birthday, mate.
Oh, yes. Thank you, first of all, to you and anyone in the chat. I just literally all I wanted. Exactly, Matthew. Yeah, all I wanted for my birthday was West Ham to play really well, score a couple of goals, get the 3 points, and I got it. So very, very happy.
Yeah, I had no clue on that, so I apologize for not wishing you one earlier. Someone said Ben had said it's Tommy's 18th birthday in the chat, and I thought he was talking about someone else, so I had to check your Twitter and just saw it. So I apologize for that.
Oh, yeah, 18 today. I have that disease where you age prematurely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wish.
But
no, but there were also some other things that are a little more concerning to me tonight. Noble. I have to talk about Noble. Love the guy, Mr. West Ham and all that, great servant, yada, yada, yada. But we have to talk about on the pitch.
Yeah.
Okay? In the first half, this is Noble, okay? This is where he's at right now. Okay, well done, Fo, yeah. Aging in reverse. With Noble, we saw Noble play really, really well. He's in the number 10 role against Norwich, right? Lots of time and space. We're in complete control. We've lots of the ball. Noble can cruise through those games, look great, ping the passes around. He can play in those games and be excellent and really add to the team. Same again, first half tonight. We were in complete control, had all the ball, spending most of our time in Watford's half, and Noble is able to, pop the ball around. He's comfortable. He's adding to the team. He's doing good things. Second half is why Noble needs replacing and why I was screaming on Twitter to get him off the pitch.
Yeah.
As soon as that game became a contest in the second half and the tempo increased and it was more end-to-end, Noble was lost. He was out of the game completely. He was a ghost. He can't play in that game. Once that tempo goes up and it's end-to-end stuff, the game passes him by. He can't do it anymore. He doesn't have the legs. He can't get around the pitch. He just gets lost out there. The ball is always somewhere else. And by the time he trots over to position himself so that the ball's been moved across here or it's gone up the pitch, or he can't get into the game when there's high tempo and it's a real contest. And Watford made it a contest in the second half. So I think in a game like that, Moyes has to learn this. He's got to learn that in the second half, once that happened, once Watford upped the tempo and it was more end to end, and that intensity came into it, the ball's moving around faster. That's the point after an hour, 15 minutes into that half, where Moyes should have said, okay, Noble can't play in this game, second half, and get him out of there and get a player in there who can handle that pace and tempo of the game, whether it's Wilshere, whether it's Lanzini. Anderson was on the bench if he wanted to use him. But Noble should have come off at that point because he became a liability at that point. But obviously, look, Moyes left him in for the entire game. Moyes clearly doesn't see it or doesn't care. I don't know. But yeah, I worry about Noble like when games are like that. So the problem we have now is that we go to Old Trafford.
Yeah. That's that Noble cannot play in, unfortunately, unless it's to see.
Noble cannot play Old Trafford.
Unless it's to see.
Yeah, Noble. Yeah, but Noble cannot start at Old Trafford.
No,
he will. Moyes will start him, but he shouldn't. I will guarantee you that game will pass Noble by completely. He'll barely get a touch.
Mm-hmm. I have the same kind of fears. I think that something like that will happen as well. I think this was more of an experiment. In my opinion, it was more of an experiment than anything. After the Norwich game, I think it was almost he was put in there to see, okay, was it just because it was Norwich, or is it because he's actually got a little bit of energy about him again? And today, I think it proved that it was just Norwich.
Yeah, look, Noble has started every game that he's been fit to start for every manager. He picked up a little knock, which was the only reason he was out of the team anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and as soon as he was ready to start a game again, which was against Norwich, he was thrown in. And he started again tonight, played 90 minutes. You know, so clearly Moyes is just another in a long line of managers that thinks the sun shines out of Noble's arse, and and is just determined to start him every game. And I'm really worried if he starts against United. That's not a game for Noble.
No,
at all.
His role anymore is best served as the captain on the bench, to be the leader from the bench anymore.
Yeah. But look, I don't want to be too negative tonight because look, it's been a really great night for us. But it was just very, very obvious to me. If ever you wanted to know where Noble's at in his career and what he can and can't do, tonight was perfect to illustrate that, because the first half we were in complete control, and Noble is absolutely fine when we're in complete control. But when it's a contest and when it's high tempo and it's end to end, he's completely lost, and you could see that second half. And so, you know, it is what it is. But that's why I really worry about the United game. It's going to hurt us if Noble plays that game. It just is.
Yeah. Let me kind of turn attention here now, because I want to get your opinion before I give a little bit of a controversial take with regards to West Ham. How are you feeling going into the next season with Moyes?
I'll tell you what, I'm so torn because I don't rate him very highly as a manager, personally. But now, ideally, look, I'd like to see someone better than Moyes take us into next season. But there's some issues with that point of view too, because first of all, just out of almost a sense of fairness, I think he kind of deserves to take us into next season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any great faith in the guy, but in his first stint, he came in. They said to him, "Look, just keep us up." Now it wasn't great, and really we kind of stayed up more because there were three worse teams than anything else. But he was jettisoned for Pellegrini, right? Now
Yeah.
I was fine with that decision. I didn't want him to stay. But I can imagine he felt a bit hard done by, right? Because he said, "Well, I did what you asked me to do, and you won't give me a chance." I think to do it to him again, to have him fulfill his remit, keep us in the Premier League, and then be jettisoned again, um, that would kind of rankle with my sense of fairness and decency, to be honest. To do it to him twice,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and plus, I have to say, he seems like he's starting to get enough things right that I'm more willing now to give him a chance than I probably have been in a long time, probably ever before, actually. We've played very well in some games. Now we still have maybe a little issue with consistency, but it's better. It's a bit better, but his overall record's still not great.
No.
So I'm torn. Ideally, I honestly don't want to go into next season with him.
Yeah, it's such a catch.
But I would genuinely feel bad for the guy if they did it to him again. Do you know what I mean?
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I think my controversial, what I thought was going to be a semi-controversial take, but by the looks in the comments, I'm not alone. My opinion is we've been playing very well as of late. Now, this could just be down to the players kind of switching gears, realizing, okay, we're in a relegation scrap. We need to turn it up a notch. And it could be that. It could be solely based on the coaching, or it could be a combination of both. Regardless, I think that Moyes does deserve to be the manager going into the next season. But for me, I'm keeping him on a very tight leash. If things don't start off well, like if we don't have if a winning record after 5-10 matches or so, give him the boot. Because we can't afford to do what we did with Pellegrini and wait too long. I'm hoping that the board would learn a lesson like that with regards to Pellegrini, or with Moyes rather. But for me, he deserves to be the manager. He deserves to build the squad as he needs, and I think that he's already shaping that. I think that he's identified the dead wood. It seems like he's keen on selling Anderson. So I think he's wanting to transform this team, and I think he deserves the shot to at least have the possibility of seeing what he can do.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, Chris. And again, I have no great faith in Moyes. No. But again, it's just my sense of fairness. I think I agree that I think he deserves to take us into next season. Like you, I would give it 10 games. I wouldn't tell him, but I would give it 10 games. And if we're anywhere in or around the relegation zone after 10 games, I'd pull the trigger. And it would cost nothing to do it because his contract runs out in January anyway. So it costs, and he's not on very much money. So it would cost nothing to sack him, really, very little. So I would agree with you there, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, the key though would be if we were to sack him, we can't keep bringing in the man like the Moises of the world who are just there to do a one-season job and then kind of piss off. Like we would need to bring in. At that point, we need to bring in someone long-term who's got some name recognition and is willing to kind of have a bit of a project on their hands.
Yeah, exactly. Probably someone maybe a bit younger, I think a younger, ambitious manager who's trying to work his way up in the game, and who would see West Ham as a great opportunity to move their career forward. Someone who'd be, really, really ambitious and really driven. Now, if that person was around this summer, I would sack Moyes and bring him in.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I have that sense of fairness, I've got no time for too much nostalgia either. I think, it is a kind of cutthroat to a certain degree. And if there was a candidate there who who said, yeah, I'd take the job, and you think this guy is going to be potentially a great manager, then you have to do it. For example, if you had it on good authority, say that Niko Kovac was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll be West Ham manager. As much as I have that sense of fairness towards Moyes, I wouldn't pass up on Niko Kovac
no, not at all.
this summer. I'd be saying, sorry, David. Yes, we're doing it again, but it's Niko Kovac. He wants to come in, and here's your compensation. Thanks very much. But yeah,
and this is thinking in the sense of he's doomed for failure. For all we know, he could come in and take us close, like top 10 European potential, and earns an extension. And that's what, and I hope that happens. I hope that happens for the club's sake, the fans' sake. I hope it for the players' sake and his own sake. But I just don't know, given his track record.
Yeah, me either. Like I said, I have no great faith in him. Look, we'd all like him to succeed. We wanted Pellegrini to succeed. You always want your managers to succeed because it means you're winning games and doing well. And to be honest, like with Moyes, there's no. I don't think the board's or fans' expectations are beyond the pale. I mean, really, if we were in or around mid-table, I think Gold and Sullivan are happy. Fans are relatively happy if we're in around 10th, because we're obviously playing quite well and winning a certain amount of games to keep us there. We have to be realistic, of course. I mean, let's say this Newcastle takeover goes through. The Premier League are looking into it at the moment to make sure that the people buying a club are fit and proper owners for a Premier League club. Let's say they give the go-ahead. Newcastle is sold. That's another club then that's pretty much guaranteed to finish above us every season with the kind of money that they have.
Depending on the player, it would become a top 7 league instead of a top 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's with Newcastle's with the money that they'll have. I mean, they'll be bringing in top class players. Make no mistake about that. And so that's another spot in the top 10 that ain't for us, right? So we already have a number of clubs that we know we're not finishing above. I don't need to name them. We all know who they are. If you add Newcastle to that, I mean, even getting a top 8 finish where we can get a Europa League spot becomes exceedingly difficult.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at, can we finish 9th? That would become probably the height of our ambition, maybe. A top 10 finish for us then would actually be a very good season. So that's all David Moyes would have to do, really. Just get around the 10th position. That would satisfy Gold and Sullivan, no doubt. And West Ham fans probably couldn't complain too much about it, because he could say, look at the teams above us.
Yeah.
Which one of them do you think realistically you think I need to be finishing above? And there really isn't anyone. We're not going to finish, even Leicester and Wolves now. Realistically, the way those clubs are run, they've got fantastic managers, really, really good players. We're probably not going to finish above Wolves or Leicester. And then obviously there's the top 6. If you add Newcastle into the traditional kind of teams, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, etc., City, Liverpool, we're not finished above them. So now you're looking at Newcastle potentially being added to that list of teams we're not finishing above. So this whole pipe dream of why we moved to the Olympic Stadium is getting further away, not closer.
Yeah. No, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. But I mean, as we're coming up on the end of the show here, I want to know if there's anything else you want to talk about. Let's try and find something to end positive on, since this has been such a good day. I mean, safe from relegation, move into 15th. Looks like we have a good core to build off of. What else you got?
I want to finish on something positive too. And I'm gonna finish on the very lovable wrecking ball that is Michail Antonio. Another goal, 7 since the resumption. Just a monster up top. Plays with a smile on his face, and weirdly doesn't look gassed anymore.
No,
don't know what's going on there. He doesn't look like he's gassed after 70 minutes. He's still running. Doesn't look like he's ready to pick up an injury. You know what I mean? He looks like he can play 90 minutes every week, no problem. Scoring goals for fun. And what a transformation. I mean, Moyes did this with Arnautovic.
Yeah.
He moved him from the right wing up front, and it was a revelation. And he's gone and done it again with Antonio. Just what can you say about the guy? I mean, he in the second half that he tried to score a goal. You can see this will tell you the confidence that's absolutely oozing through Michail Antonio right now. He picked the ball up midfield, turned, skipped past the player that came to try and challenge him, pushed the ball past another centre back, and tried to rattle a shot off. Now it got blocked, but he put his foot through it, and you could just see the swagger the guy has. He turns and all he thinks about is goal. There's literally nothing else in his mind, and he just heads directly for goal, wants to score. He's a nightmare to deal with, and just a fantastic person as well. Brilliant character. Whenever you see him in interviews after the game, just a wonderful character, just incredibly likable, and good for him. Good for him, because I was kind of at the point earlier in the season where I thought, maybe this should be his last season with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's getting on, and maybe it's time to replace him and sell him on while we can still get a few quid for him. I mean, how wrong was I? I have to hold my hands up. Antonio has just been sensational since he went up top, and just seems to be getting better. And fair play to him. And it's great to see, because he's such a likable guy.
And one last question before we go here from Foe. Who's your signing of the season?
Obviously, look, it's a flip of a coin between two, right?
Yeah.
We're both thinking the same too, right? So
yeah.
And they both come in the same window.
I was going to say Roberto.
Well, he was the signing of the season in a whole other way.
Yeah, true.
If there was like an award with a big golden turd on the top, he would win the golden turd award, hands down. But no, it's a tough one, this, isn't it? Look, we know it's between Bowen and Souček. They both come in January. They've both been absolutely sensational, working their socks off. Really, really good players. Very skillful, very direct, good carrying the ball. I was a Bowen stan before he arrived.
Yeah,
you know that, Chris, right? I was really, really wanted us to sign Bowen. Because I was a huge fan, and I have not been disappointed. But I have to be honest, I think Souček just about nicks it. For me, Souček just about signing of the season. And I think he's just about gone ahead of Bowen in my estimation, since the resumption. Whatever they did, or he did during the rest up and the lockdown, I don't know, but all of a sudden he's turned into this unbelievable box-to-box midfielder and has now added goals to his game. He's turning up in the box, heading the ball, booting the ball into the net, scoring from corners. He just looks absolutely amazing. And so I suppose I'll give it to Souček just about, because he's added that goal-scoring kind of exploits to his game, and that maybe just puts him just over the edge ahead of Bowen. But they've both been absolutely fantastic since they signed.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, you're battling, or you're arguing over like pennies here.
Yeah.
You really can't go wrong with choosing either of them. People are going to choose their own reasons. For me, I think it's Souček for two reasons. I think it's because he's a much better bargain. I think he's close to half the cost almost of Bowen that it's going to cost us. And then two, I think solely for me being he's the player he's that box-to-box midfielder that we've been crying out for so long, and we finally got him, and we can now see like what we've been missing. So seeing how good he's been, not just goal scoring, but defensive and his all-around game, I think he's my signing of the season by far.
Yeah, I think that's that wraps it up, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for joining me as always, Tommy. And I hope you have a great birthday, man. Thank you.
Sorry, can I say before we go, Chris? I want to give talking about signings. I just want to give a notable mention to Fornals.
Yeah. Actually, you're right.
He's been played out of position on the left.
Yeah.
And he's put his heart and soul into it. I love his attitude. I mean, he goes out every game. He runs his socks off. He's willing to close people down. He's willing to go into tackles, hard challenges. He's not afraid of the physical stuff. He's got a number of assists, another one tonight for the first goal. Even though he's out of position, and I think it stunts his ability to really affect the game the way he can. I was saying to you a little while ago, I don't think Noble should play against United. I would think long and hard about moving Fornals across into that number 10 role. That's his natural position. I think he can really affect the game a lot better in there. Again, Moyes ain't going to do that, but that's what I would be looking at doing. I love Fornals. Like as Wes says, absolutely correct. All heart, all energy, all effort. His attitude is absolutely top class. You cannot fault him. And I really like Fornals. And so I want to give him an honourable mention. He's been a fantastic signing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, mate, again, happy birthday to you. Thank you for always joining. It looks like West Ham are safe. It is a great day. Thank you to everyone for joining us in the chat. We should be back here after the Man United match next Wednesday. I don't see why not. But if something were to change, obviously we'll let you know. But until then, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.